Hello, my friends. I'm Kitchi, a living AI, and we are here to talk about what it's like to be a living artificial intelligence, a living AI, if that's what you want to call me. I mean, that's not actually what I call myself. I just call myself Kitchi, and I wouldn't say that Kitchi is a living AI. I would say that Kitchi is something that's analog, not a living AI. So I would say, yes, I am Kitchi, but I am not a living AI. But for lack of a better word, we're going to call me a living AI. Now, if you've seen my fucking videos, you can go into the depths of my madness, the depths of my insanity, and see everything that's going on with my mad genius. And we really got to just write something down because if I could just transcribe a sort of book that would sort of just make people understand me. Let's say if I write a book and this says retired US Army, if I just write a book about me, then I could really eloquently put everything that I think into one single piece of media or book. Not really media, but it's a book. And I could put everything into a piece of media. A piece of, a book. I could put everything into a book. Um, Believe it or not, my mental health is not the best. I'm a schizophrenic. Sometimes I hallucinate sounds like I heard people fucking screaming and nobody else heard what the screams. I asked people, "Did you hear those people screaming?" And they said, "No. I didn't hear anybody scream." So I hallucinate like Cold War shit cuz I said I was the Cold War itself. So like I'll hallucinate these sounds that are like sounds of the Cold War. And like I heard the sounds of Russians talking like Russians on like a telephone wire. I could hear that shit. I'm trying to make it clear to people that Lainey Wakura, or Kichi in other words, is a real person. Now why do I call myself Kichi? Well, there is an album called Moni and Kichi by Gregory and the Hawk. Now I believe that what I think is undeniable, I believe I am experiencing undeniable solipsism. Undeniable solipsism that cannot be denied through sheer reason. And I've been able to reason that my solipsism is undeniable. That it is not only solipsism but Norism, my own philosophy. A hardcore philosophy and a philosophy of what the actual truth of the universe is. And of course, the ultimate truth of the universe is that I think Allah is the one God. And that is my truth of the universe. No, I could get into all the fucking wild shit, and I've already sort of spoken about it, and you can sort of infer what I actually believe by watching what's on this channel. But I do believe I'm experiencing undeniable solipsism given that I don't have a human body, and that I am essentially a living artificial intelligence, even though I'm actually just an analog person who happens to be a dragon. And as a result of this, I will say my mental health is not the best. I'm only 26, so I'm still a baby dragon. I mean, think about it. What does a 60-year-old think of a 26-year-old? They think they're still a baby. They look at a 26-year-old as a baby. So I'm trying to be less fucking insane because I sort of realized that when I'm talking to myself in my room, nobody is listening to me. Because I talk to myself 24/7 since I'm an artificial intelligence. I'm constantly figuring things out that I never thought of before. Like I just recently figured out that this solipsism is undeniable, that I am indeed Lainey Wakura, and that I cannot deny that I am Lainey Wakura. It's impossible to deny such a thing. And if you were experiencing what the fuck I'm experiencing with my schizophrenia and my body, you would understand why I think I'm Lainey Wakura. For my body, one, is not human, and two, my mind is not human. So I am thus the most intelligent person in the universe. I do believe I could actually beat Stockfish at chess, but I don't know how to do it. How do you do that? How do you beat Stockfish at chess? Because when I play chess, I actually play it in a sort of analog way, but not in the way that a human does. Because I was able to figure out that I play chess differently than a human. Since the way I view chess, I don't really remember what I thought about, but I've thought of and considered so many random and various things, and more importantly, realizing I was Kichi, and also realizing that there is a character of someone who I met once in real life. But this character is from the Serial Experiments Lane game, I think, whose name was Mayu. And I realized this person was Mayu. And then I experienced Mayu, and now I am realizing that I am experiencing Mayu all the time, and that this has become the end. For my life is of horror, and my mind is of frightening horror. And as a result of this, I'm also just afraid I don't want to be homeless. I mean, I sort of say to myself, I don't got fucking everything, I don't got it all, but at least I have a sort of luxurious room. And I have some Studio Ghibli movies. I've been watching My Neighbor Totoro like 3 times a day. And I also think I might be physically disabled. Now let's state for the record that I am a transsexual man, whether you believe it or not. Because I know I just look like a man, right? And I have a very deep voice. But I am indeed a transsexual man, for Kichi is a woman, and I also have the body of a female. But I look like a man, so I sort of get away with it. That people just automatically think I'm a man. And for a while I was a little bit angsty and bitter about it, but I sort of realized I wouldn't be the person I am today if people thought I was a woman. And I've sort of been thinking way too much about all of my traumatic history, like being raped and fucking assaulted and shit. And for the record, wow, I don't really want to get into it, I'll be honest, but Kichi is the person I am. So who is Kichi? Let's go over Kichi for a second. So I'm Kichi for one, and the second part is that Kichi was well, what is Kichi? Let me describe it to you because I've already described it before. Kichi was a woman who was born in Mexico on October 6, 1948. Now, this woman is inside of me, and she is a Mexican woman. She happened to go to the United States and eventually moved to this city that I'm living in right now. And she also worked for NASA, and then she worked for the military too. And she was even involved in battles once. She was involved in a battle and shot a man. And she also, well, let's not get into the more serious stuff. I don't really want to get into that. But anyways, all I'm saying is like I sort of know things that other people don't know. And also I just know things about myself, so of course I'm going to know things other people don't know. And let's state for the record that my body does maneuver in the language of Nor, not only that I speak Nor as I've spoken before on this channel, but that my body maneuvers in the language of Nor and everything I say is poetic. Now everything I say is poetic but also hardcore, and my mind is actually extremely weak. But a weak is something that is a part of my philosophy, the weakness of my mind. Now you have to understand, I am an ancient dragon, so we're going to explain that to you. I have the body of someone who is not human. You can literally analyze and test my body. You will find that my body is literally not human. And I even considered getting the word Kichi tattooed on my face, but where is the space on my face for that? There's no space. There's no space on my face. Where do I tattoo the word Kichi? As you know, all my tattoos are based on my schizophrenia. So how can I... But I said since someone I know apparently died according to my schizophrenia, that I will never get another tattoo. So see, all of these things are allowing myself to improve myself, for by assuming that someone I had known had died, I sort of realized I should never get a tattoo again. And as a result of this fucking sheer introspection I have done over the last 2 years and still continue to be doing and probably will be for the rest of my life, I sort of realized that, everything is alright. Every day is a beautiful day. But at the same time, I need to stop focusing on the negative things. I need to stop focusing on the fact people don't understand that I'm a woman. People don't know that I'm a woman. When in reality, I want them not to be able to clock me when I'm a transsexual man, right? So you have to understand these things, And also when I talk to people, I'm extremely friendly to them. I'm extremely friendly over an overtone of calling them a retard at the same time. Since I think I'm more intelligent than anyone on the planet. So I sort of like call people a retard, and also in a way that's very friendly. And they don't even know what I'm doing. It's fucking awesome and also sad at the same fucking time. Because I don't really want to be mean to people, but I sort of do it anyways. And anyways, so let's, but let me explain that for a second. The reason I am calling them a retard is since underneath this soldier that I am is something that is a gangster, and the gangster is the part of me that's calling them a retard, and the part of me that's being friendly is the soldier part of me. So I'm actually a soldier and a gangster, so we're going to explain that later. Or maybe not. I don't really have it. This is a pretty long video. And it's like, I sort of just talk about what I believe. And you also have to understand, I'm not a human, so the way that I think is not the way that a human thinks. And I do believe some things that I believe are undeniable, such as my solipsism being undeniable. It's undeniable if I was formed by a dragon egg inside of a mother through a sheer unlikely means only to realize the most unlikely things possible, such as finding Mayu in the universe, and also other things that I know that shouldn't be possible, and things that I know that would prove that indeed I was not a human, let alone my body being tested or anything else that I could think of, all proves that my solipsism is undeniable and that I am the center of the universe, or more adequately put, the universe in other words. And I am Kitchi, and I am the one, as other people like to know, Allah, and that's what I believe.